Bronny James to the basket. Bronny with a basket bombardment!
When the Golden State Warriors won an NBA championship earlier this year, they did so with a roster that included 4 sons of former NBA players. Finals MVP Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, and Gary Payton II. Basketball is a sport that demands such a particular combination of size, talent, and training, often from an early age, that the best head start to an NBA career is often to grow up with an NBA player for a dad. But among basketball dads, none cast a longer shadow than LeBron James. The NBA's unchallenged king for the past 2 decades, LeBron has not just dominated the league, but been one of the most recognizable people in the world. That creates almost unprecedented pressure and expectations. Since 2018, LeBron has expressed a desire to play in the NBA alongside his eldest son, LeBron James Jr., known as Bronny. It's never happened before in the NBA, though it has in some other sports. Because the elder James has been not just great, but extremely durable, that dream feels very much in reach for him. The question is the NBA dream in reach for Bronny? There's never been a basketball prospect who's received as much attention as Bronny James from before he was old enough for middle school. Because of his dad's historic greatness, commentators and even scouts paid attention from the first time he picked up a basketball all the way to when he began organized play. And early in his career, he looked like he might live up to the hype, becoming not just a multi-generational NBA player, but perhaps a multi-generational NBA star. He had a practiced jump shot, defensive intensity, and a pass-first mentality with the court vision to back it up before he entered high school. Perhaps most importantly, he had size to go along with those attributes. LeBron joked about college coaches trying to recruit Bronny when he was 10 years old. It didn't look like a bad bet on their part. Unfortunately, Bronny hasn't developed as much in his high school years as we initially hoped he might. Playing for a stacked Sierra Canyon team that also included second-generation hoopers like Scottie Pippen Jr. and Zaire Wade, he often disappeared on the offensive end. He went off for occasional impressive performances. He had a career high of 28 and multiple games where he knocked down 5 three-pointers, but he often followed those up with quiet games where he didn't crack double-digit points. He ended up missing all of last year with a meniscus tear, which makes it harder to judge how he'll play as he gets older and has more opportunities. Even assuming he comes back stronger from injury, as it appears to be the case based on how he's played in exhibition games this year, he has yet to show either the ability or the inclination to emerge as a focal point for his team's offense. Barring a drastic change in not just how well he plays, but how he plays, Bronny is never going to be an NBA star. He probably won't even be a star at the collegiate or G League level, which is not necessarily a knock on his skills. The most surprising thing about Bronny's game is that despite the fact he's grown up in the spotlight with the kind of media attention that even future superstars rarely get, he doesn't play like a star at all. His hallmark as a high school player has been hard-nosed defense. He's been aggressive going for steals and seems to have good instincts for when he can safely gamble and when he needs to lock down and play man-to-man. He switches well, he weaves and fights through screens. On offense, he's shown when it comes to spot-up shooting. Almost all his best games have come in situations where he can play as a catch-and-shoot bomber. Although he seems comfortable handling the ball and can drive to the rack effectively against high school competition, his first instinct when he has the ball in his hands seems to be either shoot it or pass it right away. And those passes, while accurate and prompt, tend not to be flashy. Rather than a do-everything superstar like his dad or a transcendent all-level scorer, Bronny plays like a prototypical 3-and-D wing. That wouldn't be good enough to make him a top pick when he qualifies for the NBA draft in 2024, but it would certainly make him an attractive prospect for any team, if, that is, he ends up being a wing. When he joined Sierra Canyon as a sophomore, ESPN ranked Bronny as the 19th best prospect of his class. Now, they have him at 43rd. Not because he's gotten worse, or even because other players have gotten better. The glimpses we've seen of him indicate that he's continued to develop along the same lines that point to him not being an NBA star, but an excellent role player, someone you might hesitate to start but would love have coming off the bench. And it's not even because of his injury. Yes, he did miss a season, but he's come back looking healthy and ready to go this year. Rather, his ranking fell because many of his high school competitors have had multi-inch growth spurts while Bronny grew only an inch. 6'2" as a sophomore. He is entering his senior year at 6'3". Nor does he have an exceptional wingspan for his height. He still has skills, but by the standards of the NBA, he no longer has size. That's not going to cut it for a wing player in the modern NBA. It might preclude him from playing serious minutes at shooting guard, much less small forward. Most NBA teams are looking for either more height or elite shot creation in their pure point guards, and Bronny doesn't project to have either. Bronny has yet another year of high school hoops ahead of him. After strong showings in exhibition games this summer, he could return to Sierra Canyon, earn and embrace a bigger role. Heck, he'll have little choice, considering how many of his former upperclassmen have moved on to the pros. Pippen, Kenyon Martin Jr., Zaire Williams, and Brandon Boston are all now in the NBA. Wade is in the G League. That won't increase the spotlight on Bronny, who was more famous than any of his teammates, but it will increase the role he can and needs to play on the court. With more opportunities, he could show us he deserves to be a top recruit again. But recruited to where? After the summer of 2023, he'll face his one and almost certainly done year between high school and the NBA draft. Right now, he's not inundated with calls from college coaches. Still, ESPN lists him as having an offer from the University of Kentucky, and other top programs have considered him. If he has a strong senior season, he should have his pick of NCAA programs who'll benefit not only from his solidity of his play, but the national media coverage he brings with him. His path might instead take him to the G League. He could play for the development-focused Ignite, as most young prospects do, or he could end up with the G League affiliate of whatever team his dad plays for. That will probably be the South Bay Lakers. The latter wouldn't allow the two Jameses to play together professionally yet, but it would put them in the same organization. Many players with Bronny's profile might choose to skip their first year of NBA draft eligibility, staying in college, the G League, or an overseas league to build their portfolio. Players only get one shot at the draft. While some undrafted players have clawed their way into the league, like Gary Payton II, who might be Bronny's best comp and become a key piece for a title team, that's a harder and less certain road. But for real, Bronny probably won't delay though. The specter of LeBron's wish to play with him hovers over his draft prospects. He won't be a top pick unless he has a major leap in the next 2 years, but as long as he maintains solid play, he's a lock to be drafted. Look, most teams wouldn't spend a high first-round pick on a prospective role player just to try to lure an aging superstar for a year, not even for the services of the best player this century. But a late first-round pick? A second rounder? That's too tempting for 30 teams to ignore. There's never been a player with a path to the NBA like Bronny James's, and that will continue right up to his draft and into his rookie season. He's gotten more attention and faced more pressure than any kid his age should be expected to handle. But the attention and pressure doesn't seem to bother him. In fact, it doesn't even seem to have affected his game. This might be the best sign he'll not just reach the NBA, but find a niche where he can thrive there. Have you watched Bronny James play? Do you think he'll make it in the NBA? Can he up his aggressiveness to become a star? Let us know in the comments below, and while you're at it, be sure to hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and click that bell for more prospect profiles and other great hoops content.